Hello, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to see the butterflies here. And dear Dana, how is everybody doing on this Saturday night? I see Jenny M., hello, and Monica Hall, and Dr. Payne Nestor. So happy to see everybody. Between us girls, I'm cute in the flyer. And hopefully more people will be dropping in. It is an exciting night. We have a very special guest. I'm so excited to have her. Sheba is coming in the house. Yes, special guest on a Saturday night. Yeah, we expected her a couple of weeks ago, and she had to do self-care, which is very important. I try to preach that. We need to do self-care. Hello, Black Lavender. So happy to see you. And yeah, I'm going to bring up doing the grounding. I've been doing it. And I'm seeing a difference already, weirdly enough. Maybe not so weirdly enough. But before we get started, and I'll talk to you a few minutes before I bring our special guest up. But again, welcome to Dear Dana. Please hit that like button and let's do our intro. Yeah, you're going to want to stick around, Black Lavender. Let's do the intro, everybody. Let's go. It's a great night to be a butterfly on Dear Dana. And again, welcome to all of you. Hello, Monica Zens. Welcome to Dear Dana once again. Please hit that like and like and subscribe. Yes, it greatly helps this community. This is a place to share about yourself, go on your spiritual journey, grow as a person, learn about new things. We try to keep it positive in here. Sometimes we go to things that aren't so positive, but it's part of the learning process. We are a community that talks about psychological, spiritual, social commentary, but it's always a place of growth where hopefully you leave feeling better than when you came in. No judgment zone, no hate zone, definitely no hate zone. But we are a community that is about growth, period. That being said, tonight we're really going to grow. We're going to learn about being your full, complete self in a very dynamic way. And I have been privy to get to know a wonderful, dynamic woman through Jenny M., may I say. And I would really like to introduce you to a woman named Sheba that's going to wake you up in a new way, hopefully. So I want you to drop all your butterflies or your heart and welcome Sheba from MSCREATIVEAF to the house. I'm bringing her up now. Welcome, Sheba.
Hello,
Sheba.
Hi. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Look at my little smile is all big. I'm super excited. And I just am grateful. Thank you so much, Miss Dana, for the opportunity.
You are most welcome. Your smile was like, lighting up the room.
Whenever I get really excited, it's hard for me to keep it small, which is one thing that I used to hate about myself, was just that it was so big. But, you know, I have a big, bright smile. So that's like one thing you can really do. It's a small thing, but just smiling can really adjust your vibration.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, we're all about bringing our vibration up here, resonating higher. I try to explain that to them about, and I don't want to interrupt, I liken it to we are all our own radio stations. You know, who wants to be a 94.1?
Okay.
When we can go to a 500.85.
Man. But you know what? It's like people don't realize how much power they have to turn their radio dial. You know, I was like that for my whole life. Even today in the bathtub, I was just reminding myself, like, you live a different life. You live a different life. And that's the thing. It's like people feel like, okay, well, now I'm here. But when you have lived that way, it's a constant thing that you have to continue to affirm yourself in your truth, in your new truth, and just keep moving forward. So I turned my radio dial by myself.
High five on that. And I tried to explain to them, you are going to have days and you are going to have circumstances where it goes and it goes
Mhm.
down. That's just being part of in this human body.
Mhm. It
But
absolutely is.
but we are responsible for finding ways to start cranking it back up.
Right, right. And that's really how I ended up as an intuitive astrologer, which I am a second generation intuitive astrologer. On my journey, I found out that my dad did this work. But when I started really looking at my own chart, it allowed me to stop seeing myself as a victim and to accept the mission that my soul chose before it came into my body. So I never found myself feeling sorry for myself because, everything that I went through, all my trauma, that's just part of my story. And the reason why I have that story is because it's for me to share with others who have a similar experience, who maybe don't know that they can come out of the dark.
Absolutely. Um, can you tell us a little bit about where you recognized that you were intuitive young and where your path took you as, let's say, your career and then it shifted?
Okay. Well, I'll just say this. I am kind of listening to some music in the background in my headphones. Hope y'all don't mind that. I keep
That's
myself on the
okay.
level with my music. Um, but I actually hid my gifts because it got me in trouble as a child. People would call me weird and be taken aback by the things that I said. So I stopped doing it. And that started my self hatred, and it became very extreme. The negative voice that I created to protect myself from being myself was very aggressive. Like, some people may have like negative thoughts, but the thoughts that I had were very, very aggressive. So I noticed how toxic I felt and just how my life was, and I didn't like it and I wanted to change it. So I started to research, listen to videos and things like that. And I was like, I'm going to feel better. And then my coworker died
Oh no.
suddenly, and it left me devastated because we had a codependent relationship. She was there every day. We worked together very closely. And it was like I was broken because she was gone. And it kind of left me on the path to self reliance, but it took me quite some time to get there. And one day, it was I guess probably nearing the end of 2018. Actually, it was January 2019. And I was wanting to work for myself and support myself. And you can see in the comments, I am also Between Us Girls podcast. So I was wanting the podcast to monetize and grow, but I wasn't sure how to do it. But I realized that I had a gift for strategy and branding and also just talking to people, being a guide. So I started meditating on that and focusing on it. And I was like, I know my purpose here is to help others. It's not for me to be at this desk buying medical equipment day in and day out. It's for me to serve. And I decided I was Creative AF. And just kind of
Mhm,
at random, it was like Miss Creative AF. I'm Miss
mhm.
Creative AF. But further along, I came into Sheba because my name is Michelle. So it's Michelle Sheba Creative AF. So it's like the two of those entities, those two pieces of my personality combined, create this intuitive brand strategist exploding with creativity and love for whatever clients or persons come into my experience.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that so much. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you for not calling me weird.
No, no, let me tell you something. I have come to find out over the years, and I really truly believe this to be true. Every, look, first of all, I know, and I've told them this, everybody, every child, every baby is born with intuitive gifts. and I know this to be true, and I've told them, it's a long story, and I can talk about it another time because I know they've heard it, but I'll just give a thumbnail. Um, I was I studied under Raymond Moody, and I was tested by Dr. William Roll. Under their study and tutelage, etc., they told me every child is born with psychic or intuitive gifts. Up until the age of 5, they're just wide open with it. At about the age of 5, the world starts teaching it out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they start learning scientific things, or parents start saying, like when a child says, "Oh, my friend so-and-so is playing with me." Well, where is your friend? Oh, they're right there. Well, no, they're not.
Right.
That type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or kids will pick up on things, and parents will say, "Oh, don't worry," or "You don't see that," or whatever. So after 5, they get so connected to the earth, most kids lose their gifts.
Right.
The ones that keep it, or keep their spiritual gifts, or keep on the journey, are all called weird.
Absolutely.
Especially as they go into adulthood. I would be willing to bet you every single person has been dignified as weird. Bar none.
Mm-hmm.
I was too.
Absolutely. And one of my clients, actually, she and I haven't made the shirt yet, but it's going to say "Weird is code for genius," because I feel like when we tap in, when we're able to open and receive messages from the divine, like, it's our genius operating. And it's such a shame because, just like you said, society, the world will convince you that you're supposed to operate like this and like this only. And if you do anything outside the scope of that, then you feel scared, because we all want to fit in, especially as when we're young, growing up. We really want to be accepted by the people we love, because it's usually them, which in my case, it was, who are the hardest on you about being different.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting as I, came to this point, just finding out that my parents had the metaphysical background, because that wasn't something I was exposed to growing up. And I wish I had known, because I feel like that would have been a really beautiful experience for us to just grow into that together. So I allow my kids to, watch me do rituals and talk about the moon with them, and we pray out loud together and sing and dance and just praise and whatever we need to do, because I didn't have that and needed it. And I think that's one thing that will really change our society, if people kind of go back to whatever their natural inclination is when they come to connect to God or to the divine.
And they're not separate.
Right.
That's a big kicker. I mean, I told them when I was little, my mom, and she probably did it in a surprise, it could have been in a surprise way. It could have been in an off the cuff way. But when you're young, you take everything literal. Or it could have been in a way to tamper me down, But she used to say, they used to burn people like you.
Oh, yeah.
That's traumatizing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it can present in you hiding, even though you are knowledgeable on the subject and your gifts, that trauma can stop you from, as an adult, doing the work that you were called here to do,
And think of the anxiety and depression it causes people.
For being fake.
If they don't pursue that part of themselves. Right. I mean, basically, and you may relate to this, after I got tested and that professor came forth, because I ended up in a class or in a space I never wanted to be in on accident, because it said staff, and got announced, I felt like I was outed against my will and thrown out of the closet in a different way than, another population might be.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, it is kind of like coming out of the closet for us, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can relate to that.
Absolutely.
So then you have to navigate in a whole entirely different way.
Yep. And it's just not easy because we still stand alone. Like even though you and I are similar, I
Yeah.
still sometimes feel like I'm alone because my gifts may present differently than yours. My clair abilities may be different than yours. And I think if people understood that the individuality is the magic, then they would be more confident in saying, well, it's okay if Dana and I don't psychic in the same way. We're still
Whoa,
both
did you see
able.
that? Did you just see that?
What was it?
There was a thing that went across my screen.
Oh, well, we must be making magic here then.
Yeah, we'll have to play it back later. Yeah, I need to see the time on that later.
Okay.
Something is happening while we're both here. Let's just say that. That is the key too. Everybody's does not. We can tap into things. The gift may be the same, but it doesn't tap the same way all the time.
Right. Right.
Like yours may come in visuals, and mine might come in like let's say we both get visuals for lack of better. Yours may come in photos, mine might come in movies.
Right.
Who knows, right? It just depends on frame of reference.
Mm-hmm. Typically, I will see an experience that I had replay that will let me know, oh, this person is experiencing this, because I've taken so many risks and done so many things. And I think that's intentional because then I can relate to others more easily because I've done so much. And then also being clairaudient, people will be like, oh, well, did you hear it? But like, it's an inner ear voice.
Yeah.
More than it's an outside burning bush voice that's like, go and do this.
Yeah. People find it hard to, and that's why I think that some people, when they don't really know exactly they have the gift when it initially happens, because it's so internal, instead of right out on them. So they think, am I creating this?
Right.
Or
am I crazy?
Yeah.
Am I crazy? But I think that's why it's important to practice and to like come to know the sound of that voice versus the fear or ego voice that talks to you. Because if you don't know the difference, you'll confuse the two,
Can you discuss more of this with them so it's not coming from me?
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, to me, and this is how I operate. When I hear something, first, does it sound like love? Does it feel like love? And will the outcome of the action that I'm being asked to take serve me in my growth, or will it hinder me in my growth? That's how I determine what is speaking to me, because we all know the devil is busy in there. And for lack of better words, I just use that word because, I mean, you can say whatever you want, but there is dark entities that do attack us when we are in a weakened state and when we are not confident in our core connection with God, source, however you refer. And I think just like you guys have been talking about grounding, that's why it's important to do that, because it keeps you connected in your body, because your body is so important because it's a conduit for the energy. Keeping your body well oiled, just like a machine, with water and the foods that you need to be eating, and going out into nature, connecting and praying and testing sometimes. Okay, well, let me ask for something and see how long it takes for it to appear in my experience. Because if you're really connected and doing your work, it won't take long.
And also, I try to explain to them when it is of creator or higher power, it doesn't have emotion attached to it. It's clear and concise and to the point. So it's not like it's in your consciousness where you're questioning it or there's all this emotional attachment to it. It's just to the point. Because I've had messages that have said, like when I've told them I would take a certain path all the time to university, and on a certain day it said, take so-and-so road. And it was just direct and to the point, and I was like, what?
Right.
And I could hear it inside. It was just like, take so-and-so road. Let's say it said, take Downey Road. Inside of me, And I was like, where did that come from? But it was so to the point that and it was so strange, I just took that road.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out there was a wreck on my regular
Right.
path that day.
Right. That actually happened to my parents. There was a really big chemical truck uh, accident in the 70s here. And my mom told me that my dad just one day decided to go a different way, but he didn't tell her that something said go a different way. But when they got home, she turned on the news and she was like, wow, look at that. And he didn't say anything. So I guess he was like, I did right. But of course, I didn't know that he was operating that way or anything. I mean, I did know that he used to write my sister really long readings. Whenever she would do something, he would sit and write her a really, really long letter. And I felt so jealous, I'll be honest, because he never wrote me anything. But in the Bible that he gave me recently, I found some stars next to some stuff that I never looked at. And I was like, oh, there are my messages there. So, when you're listening to that voice, it can be hard though, as we know, because we sometimes feel a little bit off for listening.
Well, people get conflicted, and I know that I did because I'm in the South.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Bible Belt.
Yeah.
And I would get conflicted because I would have somebody say, well, God doesn't like that. And then I would be like, well, why did God make me this way?
Right.
If he didn't want me to be this way, I don't understand. And I can help people, so I don't understand. So I would be like this all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then I would feel like, well, am I bad?
Mm-hmm.
But I love God. And then I had a near-death experience when I was 12.
Mm.
And I had, I was with God. So then it was more conflict, and I thought, God's going to love me. So I had to really struggle with that. And I think that is why a lot of people do struggle with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I got kicked out of catechism class. I grew up Catholic because they were talking about Jesus. And I said, well, can other people do what Jesus did? Just asking in regards to the work of Jesus. And they got upset with me and kicked me out of the class. And I never went back to church. I was 14 years old. And I operated without faith for about 20 years. And I needed it so much because I use it so much now. That's how I live my life. And I was reckless because I just thought I was here alone, and I didn't have any. I had church hurt, like a lot of us, because we're different and don't feel like we fit in the traditional church. And I feel like that's what's wrong with it, to be honest, because you should never be shunning people for their differences. And I even have a little Bible book from when I was a little girl. One of the first words in the definition, the glossary, is astrologer. It talks about how there were astrologers in that time who read the stars. I know you do, Jenny. I love you. Jenny says she got church hurt. Yeah, I think a lot of people have church hurt because we feel shamed and shunned for all the things, even just sometimes having fun. Like, yeah, we can make good choices and, be less reckless when we do things. But when you're seeking your joy and you're doing something that other people will shame you for, it's very hard to say, I love church and having fun. You almost feel like you have to make a decision right there. And I feel like that shouldn't be so.
I mean, I think that we came to Earth to learn.
Mm-hmm.
If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here.
Thank you. We would already be gone. If you were perfect, you wouldn't be here.
I mean,
the
what's
reason
the
why
point?
You're here is because you need to learn something.
Yeah.
Or just to have the experience. Like when I was questioning, because I was ready to leave, when I discovered that, there was more than just the Matrix life that I've been living. I was like, oh, let me get out of here. I don't want to deal with this. It's too hard to try to be over here with these people, and I'm over here doing this. And I was like, I got to figure out why I would want a body. Why would I want a body? If I am an expansive particle of energy, a star, why would I want a body? And
it's so
it just
hard.
I mean, it's like, why would I want to trap my star essence inside of this flesh? But it just came to me like, we can't touch each other. It is energy. We can't learn anything. We can't relate to each other. We can't love as energy. So the reason why we get in the body is so that we can have the human experience. So that's from the top of the emotional guidance scale to the bottom, so that you can feel all the things that you can't experience as energy.
True. And I mean, look at everything we have to go through here.
Mm-hmm.
From the ups to the downs and the highs and the lows. It's if the people that cause the church hurt
Mm-hmm.
are causing the judgment and the pain and the angst
Right.
and they shut everybody down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it's about.
No, they commandeer the love of God and mold it to what works for them, and then they say, "Well, God only loves these people and these people and these people. If you're over here, you don't fit. So you need to box yourself up so that you can fit with the group that God loves."
It's like clicky.
It is.
It's like high school clicky. So
It
this
is. It's almost worse than Mean Girls.
so what I decided to do at a certain point was I visited every possible religion I could. And then, ultimately, I went back through hypnosis when I had a mentor and revisited a lot of what happened when I was 12. So the adult me
Mm-hmm.
could make more sense of things. Look,
Absolutely.
ultimately, all these religions, the creator is all the same person that they're worshiping.
Right. They just, everybody has a different name,
I say person,
entity,
but
whatever.
yeah. But I mean, ultimately, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual now.
Right. Right.
Religion was built more to give people a path or a journey to entertain to go to where they're trying to shine higher, and it was
Mm-hmm.
built by man.
Right.
So I feel freer now,
Right.
and I'm sure you feel freer.
I do. And like I said, I had no faith until I created my own. Like, I just created my own religion with moon cycles, astrology, the Bible, prayers, manifestation, Jesus, whatever I want. Whatever I want, I just throw everything inside the pot and say, I love, because I feel good and I know that what I do serves me, and I'm not hurting anybody by doing what's best for me, and they will have you think, no matter what construct it is, whether it's religious or just societal, they will have you believe that doing what makes you feel satisfied and at peace and at balance is hurting somebody else. So when we're growing up, we're like, oh, I got to do what's best for the group. So if that means sacrificing myself, I'm just going to do it. But then you become a self-hater, and then other people feel fine because they're supposed to be walking the straight line, and you're supposed to be over here flying around like the butterflies, and you're not doing it because you want to fit with the straight liners. And it's like, the only person that you hurt is you, because if they have to feel uncomfortable a little bit while you adjust, oh well, they'll be okay. Like, it's better for you to operate by yourself than to be so upset and frustrated by trying to fit in that you kill yourself, because that's where I was going. Like, I just could not be. I couldn't continue to operate that way because it was really making me want to get out of here. It was too hard to live on earth without what I have now. Internet's trying to
Yeah,
act up. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's okay. It happens sometimes.
I'm sorry.
When the vibes
Yes.
start getting high, things will happen.
I know. I guess I shouldn't have said all that, but oh well, it's out there now.
That's okay. But the fact that you started going on your own path has to make you feel healthier.
Oh yeah. I lost a lot of weight.
And your children, it has to make them feel happier because your energy has elevated.
Yes. Am I delayed now?
No,
Okay. Um, my kids actually in the beginning, they were like, "What is she doing?" And as continued, my son told me one day, he was like, "You're so much different now." And even though I was better, it was hard for them because I was very toxic and I was just operating like I saw my parents act. And my mom less than my dad, but my dad was very miserable because he wasn't living in his truth.
Yeah.
So when I started to recognize that my behavior mirrored his, I was like, you know why he was like this? Because he was just unhappy with how he was living because he wasn't doing what made him feel joy. And that was when I said, I'm going to do this work for us, not just for me, not just for the collective, but for me and my dad, because I wanted to free him. Like, even though he was already, he's been passed away for 21 years. His birthday's on Monday. But it's like, I wanted to free him, his energy, like to allow him to move through me. Because when I read the charts, when I'm doing my thing, I mean, I'm getting the information. Could be that he's speaking it to me when I'm
That
reading
makes
the
me want to
charts.
cry.
Well, put it out there, girl. But I feel really like I'm doing it for more than just being publicly recognized. Like, this is a curse that I'm breaking here for my family.
I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, but yeah,
Well,
I can feel you in this. Sorry, I don't know why I'm
no,
getting so
don't
emotional.
apologize. Don't apologize. That's good. You're an excellent empath. Because I was feeling that, but you know, it's a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And so is the name. Because when I was in my mom's stomach, my dad wanted to name me Jehosheba, and my mom said no. So when I was on my journey, I was like, I need to bring forth the name so that I can once again honor him. And so that's what I did. I mean, it's a really deep story attached to that name too. And, in looking at my own stars and having an astrological brand strategist, she looks at my stars and she's like, your work here is for you to change the world through the children, the Black children or whatever, to kind of save these children from the future experience, which mirrors and looks like the one that the adults are having right now. And in the story, she takes her nephew from being killed by the grandmother who was married to the king in Judah, and she hides him in the temple for 7 years. And then after 7 years, she brings the baby forth, and he was the child that brought forth the Jesus because that was his ancestor. So it's like, I still have to do the work. So even if I look like a weirdo or, people don't agree, like, it is my duty to lead the charge here for helping the kids to get what they need through source connection, through God, for understanding that they can manifest and we are allowed to live here free, because in this society we have been conditioned to believe that we are less than human. And even though slavery does not exist anymore, the effects of it are still very apparent. And even in growing up in my own household, a lot of the things that my grandparents did and had to endure were due to racism. So that is just part of my work. And, this time with this new moon and the Lionsgate portal, it is a good time for manifestation, but it's also time for us to speak our truth out, just like I did about what I came here to do, because it's us that we're going to change the world. We are the light of the world. All of us together, all of us light workers, all of us spiritual beings, all of us light beams, we are Jesus together. So it's for us to change the wave. Like, we can't wait for one individual to come down and save us. We have to do it. We are here now in the body. That's why it's important for light workers to ground their light in their body so that they can shine it directly and purposefully and be brave in it.
I feel it, everything you're saying so deeply I can't even explain. So I never sit here and bawl on here.
I'm sorry, Dana.
So,
I'm sorry, Dana. I love you.
I love you too. Oh God. Sorry.
Well, you're still bright. You're still shining brightly.
You can ask them. I never just like break down like this. So,
Well, I want Monica to know that it's okay for her to shine her light. She says she's struggling with her gifts because her mom's a born again Christian and says she's possessed by demons. Well, Monica, unfortunately, it's your mother that is carrying the darkness. So just send her love. Send her love and keep working to shine your light because we have work here to do, guys.
okay. I'm back together again. Sorry.
Okay, you're fine. Don't apologize. I didn't mean to drop all that on y'all, but I felt like it was time for me to share that.
No, I was like, from the ground to the ceiling, ooh, I can't even explain. I couldn't explain it if I tried, so I just won't.
Well, maybe you can share it with me later. Maybe you'll have some insight as to how that hit you or why it was affecting you so deeply.
No, because I've been feeling all of that plus more for a long time
Mm-hmm.
and had no one, it goes that and beyond,
Yeah.
and have had no one to really explain it to.
Yeah.
So when you started, it was just like my whole insides opened up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Well, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean.
Yes.
So it just overwhelmed me.
Yeah. But I mean it's real. It's true.
Oh, yeah, 150%.
Like we're it, and it's our time to step into our power. And I feel like when we had the conjunction that we had in December, and the light was bright and the star was out there, this time there was a placement in, I can't remember exactly the sign that it was in, but it's Aquarius. So it's about groups, a group, versus when the Star of Bethlehem was shining, it was in Leo, which is like the king. So for us, it's about a group. A group of Jesus is out here healing the world. So we just have to do our work, and we can't be afraid because we were brought here at this time to do it. And it's just in your own space, in your own network where you have influence to share the truth and to be the light in that space versus like, okay, now I have to go find a new group. You can, and you may feel like you eventually have to, but where you are right now, you can speak the truth. And there are people who need to hear it.
That's part of the reason I started this channel. It wasn't about getting rich. It wasn't about getting famous. It was about none of that. Um, I feel part of the reason I hate the pandemic started, but it brought a lot of the spiritual warfare that's going on to the forefront in people's faces,
Right.
because they were paralyzed in place,
Mm-hmm.
where they had no option but to see what is really going on in the world.
Right.
It was like smack in their face. They
Right.
couldn't deny it anymore.
Right. I mean, there's so many ways in which we're hurting each other. My daughter and I have created, well, she came to me with the idea last year. She wanted to create packs to give to the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 8, but she's very open. She calls herself Rainbow. I'm like, okay, girl. And she talks to her imaginary friends. I don't tell her not to. I let her talk to her spirits however she needs to. So we just gave out the first 2 that we made yesterday. And giving those little backpacks it was 2 women in separate spots, but they both lit up because somebody cared about them. Somebody considered them. And my thinking is whatever's in the bag, perhaps they can't use it, but they can barter it with somebody else outside. Maybe somebody else is looking for shampoo. Will you trade the shampoo for a snack? Because they don't have money, but they need some kind of currency.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, but we can all do our part.
It's amazing what they need, and especially around the holidays, it's huge.
Right.
That they need toiletries, toothpaste,
Right.
razors, shaving cream, all of it.
All of it. And I was able to put all that stuff inside of a backpack. I went to the dollar store and, maybe spent $15 per bag. So it's like, if I can spend $30 a week to help 2 people who live outside, like that's the least I can do, especially to know that I get to live in this house and have everything I need, because I could easily be homeless as well,
Yeah.
and it's like, just like I said, this time with this portal opening up and the new moon, yeah, it's a good time to manifest, but it's also a good time to really look at how you want the world to change. How can you be effective? A lot of us are seeing that women, white women, and I know you're a white woman, are looking at how they can in their space effectively in racism. So it's like, if you see somebody in your awareness, somebody operating there, you could tell them. That's all you have to do. Everyone's always like, well, what can I do? What can I do? Just right where you are. Don't be it. Don't be racist yourself. And if you see it happening, take a stand for it. That's really it.
Yeah. I mean, it drives me crazy when you see some of the stupid things. I mean, like, I don't know if you saw the video in the Victoria's Secret.
Oh my God, that was crazy. Academy Award winning performance there.
Why did nobody? They just watched it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see anybody else taking a video.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see anybody going, look, you crazy lunatic sitting on the floor, crying like a baby.
I mean, it's like, you're not a victim.
No.
Like, it's crazy. Like, you haven't been victimized here because somebody said, no, you can't. No, you won't.
I would be taking a video too, saying, what is your problem? I'd go get the manager. I'd go to the police station with the lady that was also taking the video. Come on now.
Whenever she went to the police station or called the police, they ended up saying they couldn't do anything. And actually, I think she got in trouble.
She did go to the police station, and I think that she was able to press charges and get an attorney.
Oh, that's good.
So the world's got to change.
Absolutely. Which, you want to talk about grounding?
Yeah.
How we need to be doing more grounding?
Yes.
For the world to change?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me? I'm not trying to take over your interview.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's why you're the guest.
I apologize, Dana. As an interviewer, it's always hard for me to be interviewed.
No apologies needed.
Okay. Somebody wants to know what happened at Victoria's Secret.
Marthy, let me tell you. This woman, they were both, I don't know what they were trying to buy, but there was this white woman that got all up in this black woman's face. Well, I don't know why she got up in her face. Were they trying to get the same thing? I don't remember.
Probably.
And the white woman got all up in this black woman's face, and she was acting really juvenile and yelling, and she assaulted her. So the black woman started videoing her because she was acting real erratic and crazy. And she got down on the floor and was crying and saying, don't video me. And I mean, she might as well have been sucking her thumb.
Yeah.
But she was crying and rolling in the floor and yelling and acting like a 2-year-old, screaming at the top of her lungs. I swear she should have been sucking her thumb. And all the black lady was doing was videoing her because she was acting lunatic. Right. And she wanted to make sure she was doing self-care because, so often a black lady would have been accused of something just because the white lady was using tears to try to say that she was the one that was a victim.
Mm-hmm.
So the black lady was taking care of herself, videotaping the whole thing. And the white lady needed a 5150 for sure.
Not a 5150.
Yes, she did. My background is a psychotherapist. I would have put a 5150 on her. I would have had her held out for 72 hours to see what's going on with her.
Yeah, definitely. It was extreme. That's why I said it was like Academy Award winning performance, because that was so extra.
I would have said, are you bipolar? Are you off your meds? What's wrong with you? But, are you on drugs?
It happens so much. And it's like, the whole Karen stereotype or whatever, but it's like the behavior really exists. And it's like, and I grew up in like all white school. So like I've been watching white women since I was a little girl and just wondering like, okay. And I just it's the entitlement that comes with just being a white woman. And you know, if I was a white woman, I probably would be like, yes, I'm very elevated. But my problem is the extreme dramatics that come with that behavior are just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. Like you could get what you want without doing all that just by being a white woman.
I was raised to be very polite and embrace everything and everybody. And like I've told them before, my mom is very dark complected. And when I grew up, people would ask us what race our mom was. And I mean, when we were little kids, because we had to tell them sometimes in order for them to play with us. I kid you not. So it's not the same, but we went through some things. And like I told them before, to my great-great-grandmother, of course, we did not know because it was a whole nother generation, 3 generations away. She was hanged for killing a white man.
Mm.
So it's not the same, but we still went through some.
Well, do you think, like, you know, and this is something that I see, I feel like sometimes people are maybe of mixed race heritage, maybe not right directly.
I mean, I glow in the dark. Obviously, I am very white.
Right. But I feel like my next door neighbor, the little girl that plays with my daughter, is super white.
Yeah.
But her grandmother is biracial.
Yeah.
So that is, to me, still a black woman because I know that it's in there. But she is far removed from it.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't look black.
Right.
And I feel like that sometimes is why some white women are discombobulated because they're not in touch with their truth and they're not in touch with their roots because there's something in there that's more than what they know. And then when they find out, then they're devastated because they're like, oh my God, I never knew this. And I feel like it just comes from people wanting to run away from their truth. So like if in the past, a lot of people passed for white. A lot of people passed for white.
Yeah.
And they disregarded their heritage because it was an easier life. But then they have their grandkids or great grandkids coming up and they have no idea who they really are. And I think that's just terrible.
But you know, we were raised, we played with everybody. We were not raised to be prejudiced or hurtful or judgmental. My dad was in radio. So, you know, you can kind of imagine. My dad was, when radio was a thing, he was in radio. You understand the life.
Right.
So we weren't raised to be prejudiced, to be like that. So when somebody said, what is your mom? And we were like, why? We don't understand. We're kids. And then they told us why. You're like, I don't understand. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was never our mindset. None of us.
It's just terrible.
I know I'm older than you.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes, uh-huh. so you can see we were just different. We were different than everybody. Not meaning color-wise. I'm talking about mindset.
Yeah.
So that's the way I raised my kids too. So when hey Busy, so when I watched that video, I was just like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell are people thinking?
Yeah.
I don't even get why it's still going on now.
But that's why we have to just be as diligent as possible about talking about how it's not the way to live and how human, just like Marcy says, is really the answer when somebody asks what race you are. I'm human.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the trials and tribulations of the disenfranchised communities.
Exactly.
And that is something that is also an issue because it's like when you get disconnected from that because it doesn't have anything to do with you, You could say things like, well, just elevate and ascend, just ascend into your higher self. But it's not easy for people who have years and centuries of PTSD, not just from their familial upbringing, but because of cultural conditioning as well. There's a lot of work that has to go into healing that. So it's not just like it is for somebody who has never seen themselves as less than human. If you
Right.
first didn't even see yourself as worthy, because this is about worthiness. When we're talking about getting to the point where you can step into your higher truth and you can manifest the life that you deserve and create your own reality, we're really talking about thinking you're worthy enough to have it.
Bingo. And getting
So,
away from trauma.
right. And when your whole existence and experience is trauma, then you turn on the TV and you're watching somebody who looks just like you being traumatized, maybe for standing outside or going jogging. You are afraid to do things.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot there. It's not just all you have to do is connect with the Jesus inside of you and then your life will change. Like, what about all of the murky water, the mud in there, the darkness that is living? Because we're operating at lack from the jump. When we're born, most of our family upbringing situations are not ones that feel like love.
Right.
And I see it so much in men and women, black men and black women trying to get married and relate. Almost everybody's coming out of trauma. So we don't know how to receive love from the next person. But in order for us to save and heal our community, the children, we have to have them. We have to have them in homes that feel like love and we're teaching them the truth. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. And I don't disagree. And as a therapist too, like I haven't been doing it in a few years in a brick and mortar,
Mm.
but when I was living in the other city and I had to do some of it out of courts with kids that had been disenfranchised and stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of it. I saw a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean,
It's a lot.
from little to bigger to
Mm-hmm.
teenagers.
Well, and like I said the other day, it's like every person, not just black people, but every single person is like wandering around a wounded child inside of an adult's body, you
And,
know?
and then women, period.
Right. Right.
I would say 75% of women are walking around with bags of trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. Easy. Because that's the second socio group that is dealing with so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the last on the totem pole.
Right. Right. And that's why it's so, I think, important for us to keep talking about the the importance of women healing trauma, and then black women need to heal trauma because we don't trust each other either. So like we can't be friends really. Like a lot of people are, but then you don't trust the friends that you made because of the trauma that you experienced with other women, mostly your mother, your grandmother, or other girls growing up, your sister, that kind of thing. So it's a lot.
Yeah. So then you try to incorporate the spiritual part. But I
Mm-hmm.
do have to say, let me preface with this. The the women or the people period, but most often those with psychic or spiritual gifts are women.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally you will see grown men with it.
Right.
9 out of 10 times now, unless a lot of heterosexual men come forward, nine
I
out of,
know.
9 out of 10 times it's homosexual men.
Right, because they're in touch with that feminine essence.
And it's the right side of the brain that they're more connected with. But unless more heterosexual men come forward and it's not scientifically proven because they haven't come forward, that could be the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, this is the scale of it. But people with the gifts are the ones that tend to get more adjusted over time
Right.
because they're as they navigate their gifts, they become more in tune with where the trauma belongs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to elevate and kind of shed
Right.
some of the trauma.
Right.
That's the perk of the gift.
Yes, but I'll tell you why. And I hate to keep going back to the Black community, guys, but
That's okay.
that's I'm a Black community adjacent. Oh, I'm in it. So the thing is though that like in order to really tap in, you also have to step out of the church vibe, which
Yeah.
is where most of them live. So it's a lot of work, especially for somebody like me who's like, yeah, that's what I came here to help that group of people open up and connect. So I'm just gonna keep doing my work.
How has that gone so far? I mean, have you been able to open any minds that way?
I see more people opening up. I I try to, I'm not going to say, well, I'm strategic about it because I try to explain that like it's all the same. You know, you can call me witch if you want to, but like I'm doing healing work.
Yeah.
You know, I might be a mystic, but so is Jesus. So now what? You know, um, but I think that's why I try to use religious colloquialisms and the Bible in my work because I'm operating from a place of this is comfortable, this is still safe for you to operate in because all of those are just tools, you know.
Yeah.
If we lived outside and I had a book of leaves to talk in, okay guys, the green leaf is saying this, no different, you know. But it's just it's not really easy, especially when it comes to the men, because the women, just like you said, are the ones that are in tune.
Yeah.
So that means that we're the leaders when it comes to this. But because they're so used to being in the front or being in charge, they don't really like it. Because, and here's how I see it, I see it as the women are the cornerstone and the men are the protectors, and they're to stand in front of us as we build the community and work the strategy on how to grow the community, and they are to protect us and to provide support for us. But they want to be in the mix and tell us how to mix it up versus doing the work that they're supposed to do versus doing what they're supposed to do. So there's just so many layers to it. But I mean, this is the beginning. It's only the beginning. We may come to see them making some shifts. And I think one thing that will show is if we see more couples operating like that, we'll be able to say, okay, well, look how they're doing it. You know?
I think they just have a tendency to want to micromanage,
Yeah.
or they don't. Mm, sometimes they don't like to. If you don't say what they want to hear, that's been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Yes, I don't tend to say what they want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm working on that. I'm working on softening my approach.
Um, I used to do it more. Now I tend to cherry pick who I help. I've had
Mm,
to. I've had to. Um, More so since my son passed,
mm.
and my daughter's like, "Mama, you need to do it more." But with your help. I mean, with things you've said in the past, I'm opening up more. But I've
Well, you
had to.
know, I can help you. That's what I came to do, actually, is help other spiritual messengers be the best messenger they can be.
I've had to cherry pick,
Yeah.
but I have noticed that those that have come to me, it's been real interesting, right? It's almost been like divine timing
Right.
when they have come and forced me out. You do what I mean?
Hmm.
Forced me out of the hole.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I've been doing is just waiting for people to approach because I had it really bad where I was going out to seek people. I would see somebody suffering and be like, hello, I came to help. And they'd be like, I don't want your help. with different words, of course, because what they would probably do is say, sure, and then not do anything to improve. So I would be frustrated because I'm just watching them loop around in this cycle of self abuse and self sabotage. And it was frustrating to me because I'm spending my energy to love you, and I'm loving you aggressively and intentionally, and you're hating yourself while I'm loving you. So you're counteracting anything I'm doing to support you by not doing anything to support you. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait for God to send me my persons. And just in the last 2 days, 3 days, like 3 people have showed up. So I'm like, good. This is what I needed. Versus, you guys need help, because apparently that's like the second or third part of my work. The first part is for me to help the messengers to get the message there. So the second is then to help people outside. So like, I'm not even supposed to be healing individuals right now. I love y'all, but I can do it through YouTube or something, because it's just too much, because people are not ready, like not enough people have been awakened to the truth for them to be like, okay, I need your help. Like, if you'll notice that, like, there's so many people who reject your support.
Yeah.
you know
But like in counseling, for instance, people, I don't help people unless they come to me,
mm-hmm.
because they have to be ready to be healed.
Yeah.
So they would always come to me first. Now, the kids that Juby sent, they never wanted my help.
Yeah.
That was just the way it was.
Yeah.
But you find a way. But the key is that was the amazing part. When you have the gifts, and that's why I became a psychotherapist, I could get to the core so much quicker, and they never had to be the wiser.
Yeah.
That was the magic of it,
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, how did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool because you were really able to help them, and quicker. And the joy was, a lot of therapists would try to keep them on the leash for years. I wanted to help them so they didn't need me.
I can't stand that. I don't want to create any codependency.
No.
Like, you don't need me. You might need me for a time, but what you need is yourself.
You
So
need tools.
yes, that's what I was just about to say. Here are the tools so that you can pack your bag full and go on your journey wherever you're going with your bag full of tools, because I can't get in your bag with you, because number one, I'm still doing my work. So if I'm in your bag with you, who's in my bag?
Yeah. If you give them the tools and they meet somebody on the road and they can shine a light on them,
Right.
it's like a domino effect, right?
That's it. It's not about building this codependent network of people who can't support themselves. And I think a lot of people do that because they like to feel needed as healers. They're like, I love it whenever my clients come to me needy.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I
It's
don't like
gross.
that. I don't like it because I want to see you well. I don't want to see you perpetually ill. I want to see you advancing and growing and exploding through the blockages.
Yeah.
Like, I see it like you literally running through the blocks in your life. Like, move that out the way.
And what a lot of healers that like the codependency don't realize, it leaves trace materials on your spirit,
Mm-hmm.
which is not good. It's like toxic trace materials.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff accumulates. It's not good.
Right.
It's like
They're not doing release either. They're not letting it go. They're keeping it, holding onto it.
What I was telling them about grounding last week, by the way, there's scientific proof to it. Because we don't do enough of it, we all wear shoes most of the time. We're in buildings, we're in schools, etc. If you go out barefoot, it's wonderful if you can do it 15 to 30 minutes. But even if you do it 4 minutes and you step on the ground, and it's what am I trying to say? We have like neutral and negative and positive and everything, but it's neutral. It pulls a lot of the stuff that we've been hitting when we're connected to computers and stuff all day long. it cleans out a lot of that from your body. So it reduces inflammation, and when we have the blood and it gets sticky in our body, it unsticks all of that stuff,
Hmm.
and it helps reduce disease and everything. So they're finding that we don't have enough contact with the earth.
You mean me sitting at my desk buying medical equipment was poisonous?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not. I wrote my notes last week, but anyway,
No, you were right.
it reduces blood pressure, disease, all of that stuff, just to get grounded every single day. So the last few days, I've done it for probably almost a week now, and we're doing. All of us in this chat are doing it through the month of August.
Okay.
Just in the last week, I've had dreams every night that have been colorful and positive. Literally. I don't remember them usually, and a lot of times they're negative. They have literally been colorful and positive. My arms, where I got that new puppy from the kill shelter, she destroyed my arms. I don't know if you can see it, but now they're healing.
Oh, yeah.
And I've lost 3 pounds in a week without any changes. 3 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm seeing little changes. So take note of everything that you're seeing change, everybody. But it's really supposed to be beneficial to your health.
Oh, it is. And I'll say that I also do my grounding. But just in the last probably 13 days, I changed my routine a little bit. I've been going to the gym to work out, but also sitting outside doing like yoga and stretching. It's not really yoga because I don't really know any poses, but I just stretch. But I spend this time in the sun because that's just really important. Like
Vitamin D.
yes, and like what we don't realize is like we are just like plants. So when we're trapped in the house and we're not outside enjoying nature, we're not getting what we were designed to get. Because we created this whole industrial lifestyle that we live.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just here, which is good because that should tell you how much we can do if we really want to be creators. But we're supposed to be outside. And just since I've been doing that, I was able to manifest so much financially and just through self-love and being intentional. So like just going outside made that much difference in my routine.
That is amazing. And also they were saying, and I saw one today, that everybody that where their dogs are inside all the time and they're not getting earthing or grounding, the dogs are manifesting a lot of the same disease or symptoms as their owners and having a lot of inflammation or cancer or bone problems, etc.
Right.
And pain. Your pain will reduce if you begin earthing or grounding a little bit every day.
Right. I mean, if you just consider it like you're running yourself like the microwave, like you're the microwave, like you're supposed to be in the house and you're not supposed to be outside. You're not a microwave, you're a flesh.
Yeah.
And created to house a star. But we're like plants. So if we're going to grow, we have to get our vitamin D and the messages that come through photosynthesis. We have to have them.
I mean, think how we're always near a light, a computer, a phone, a microwave, an oven, a TV, a something. Something electrical or plugged in. Even if it's not turned on, it's emitting EMF.
Mm-hmm.
And it's moving through our body and it's, kind of clogging up everything.
Right.
So,
additionally, y'all make sure you're drinking your water too.
Amen. Yes. Let's see what changes in the month of August.
Right. How different you feel.
You may go to the doctor and your blood work may change. And then you can pass it on to your family and friends and they'll say you're cuckoo. And the ones that will do it will see a difference. I actually got my mom, who is stubborn as I don't know what, doing earthing.
And how is she reporting her success and going out and doing it?
She has only started doing it, but let me tell you, she gets wound up tighter than Lucy from Hell. Lucille Ball?
Yeah.
Lucy from hell. That's how wound up she gets. She actually did it, and she kept standing there, and then she stopped. I could feel electrical going up my legs, but that's
Oh
because
man.
it was just pulling.
I love that feeling of just being able to feel the earth. Like it's almost just like the vibrate. Oh my God. It's so good.
That tells you how much stuff was keyed up in her body.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just stand there and do the conscious breath work and just stand still, you literally, if you close your eyes, can feel your body kind of go like this,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
kind
it's
of
good.
sway a little bit.
It's really good. And it's so interesting because it's just that little thing, just going to put your feet in the earth, on the earth,
Oh,
can
the
change
other
so much.
thing that's funny, and you might not want to do it where somebody can see you, and it's an old joke people make: go hug a tree.
Mm.
Close your eyes and hug a tree. It sounds crazy because you've heard of tree huggers, but you literally can feel something going on.
But I think that's bad too because it's like those people, the tree huggers that everyone's always going, oh, you're a tree hugger. They understood how connected we are with the earth
Yeah,
and how important it is. Like we are killing our home
yeah,
where we were designed to live. Like they're going to the moon. Well, we weren't designed to live there.
no,
That's not what we were given to cultivate. So why not just fix this place, show it more love, and use the resources more wisely, and figure out how to grow more food in
yeah.
a more natural way.
I mean, did you know that? And it may not be in the way that we do, but did you know it's also scientifically proven that plants and trees have feelings?
I'm not surprised.
They may not be to the point of ours, but they literally have feelings, and they respond to tiny low levels of pain. It's sad, but it's true. They
It
do.
is because look at the way we treat them.
It's not in the same way we do, but it's minute.
Yeah.
It's not like animals and we do. It's very minute, but they do.
But God is in all things. So
Yeah,
plants too. And I feel like if you love, then you will take better care of you because God lives in there. But also you take better care of others because God lives in there. You know?
yeah. I mean, it's like energy healing. If you, uh, I don't know how much you know about that.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, but if you go up, like I can make my roses last 2 weeks plus, cut roses,
Mm.
just by doing energy healing on my roses or putting energy in my roses,
Yeah.
for lack of better. But if you go up to your plants and do, put energy in your plants, you can make them grow faster
Right.
or bloom better.
Mm-hmm.
So, I try to express this to them. And it's not about you're going to be perfect at all of this stuff all of the time, but the more mindful you are of all of these kind of things, how do I put it? The more, how can I put it to them, Sheba?
Well, I would say choose one thing to do to begin.
Yeah, I'm kind of
So,
all over the place.
well, and that's because you are more advanced, But if you're just beginning, start by just taking care of yourself
Yeah,
because your vessel is how you do your work. Whatever you decide your work is, or whatever you feel like you've heard your work is, you can't do it without the body. So, the very first thing that you would do is to start taking better care of your body. Be more intentional about drinking your water
grounding.
and yeah, and grounding and just eating better. Like I'm not saying change your whole diet, but make sure you're eating because that was one thing that I wasn't doing. I was neglecting my body so much because I was in my spiritual space. And I was like, "Oh, I'm hearing all these messages and girl, you're starving." So of course, you're nearing psychosis because you haven't eaten. So it's like take care of yourself. Like that's the first thing that you can do. And then once you start taking better care of yourself, you can decide, well, maybe I'm interested in this modality or this modality. Maybe I want to try yoga. Maybe I want to try Reiki. Maybe I want to get some cards or something to connect more to spirit because, that's what it's about. Maybe you want to get a sound bowl. Maybe you want to start auto writing. There's so many things that you can do.
I guess I push them to connect inside of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to trust their gut, so they don't gravitate to all the negative things that are going on. We had so much darkness going on YouTube and darkness coming out of the televisions, and people were gravitating to it. And I was telling them that, we're slowly coming out of the pandemic, and we're all walking around affected on some level by PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to go within and learn how to heal and take care of ourselves so we can begin to lick our wounds, basically.
Yeah. I mean, your basic prayer is good for that,
Yeah.
or just meditation too. But not even just prayer and meditation, but sitting quietly and paying attention to how you feel. And when you get triggered, like I wrote this trigger transmutation guide because I want people to be able to like process triggering and like, go to the time in their lives where the trigger was created. Because everyone thinks that, oh, I'm mad about this, but like it's this thing that's deep under here that's really kicking that up for you. So if you go take a deep dive to, just like you were talking about being 12, because not everybody can access hypnotherapy. I love it. I love it.
I'm a hypnotherapist.
Okay, y'all need to get hypnotized. But it's like doing it too, like just on the surface when you get triggered, just stopping and say, well, what is this about? Like for me, it'll be like, oh man, like this morning somebody said something and I was like, I remember that time in 7th grade or 8th grade when those girls were like, your eyes are black, they're not brown. And I was like I was traumatized by everything because I'm so sensitive. But all of that trauma, like I was carrying so much darkness with me. But I realized that like when you have a mass amount of darkness, if you could transmute that energy and turn it into light, how powerful would you be?
Mm-hmm.
How much love could you give out if you had that much hatred in you? So there's so many people who are carrying darkness, but like the people who carry the most are the most powerful light beams here too.
Yeah. Could you talk to them a little bit about your intuitive astrology?
Oh, sure. Okay, so I use intuitive astrology, one, to make light predictions about the week ahead. And then I look at people's charts in order to give them guidance on their life's direction, life mission, life path, life's wound. It's very, very deep in there. It's like a lot of time we don't know, but like we'll get triggered by things, but it's associated with this wound. A lot of people have Chiron and Taurus, and then that can be linked to feeling like you'll never possess anything, or it can make you hold on really tightly to different things versus just being like, I trust, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And right now Chiron is in retrograde. So a lot of people are going to be triggered by Chiron moving in retrograde. And last year when the pandemic was, Chiron was in retrograde. And I started noticing that like a lot of people were really triggered. Of course it was a pandemic, so it was hard.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, this is intentional and by design at this time because we are supposed to be healing, because that's what Chiron is about. It's about healing. I'm kind of obsessed with healing and Chiron and the North Node, but that's what it's about. It's about healing. So in that time of the shutdown, it was like, what do you need to heal so that you could be your best self when we go back outside? But guess what? Nobody did it. So guess what's about to happen? We're about to go back inside because people need to do their work. And that's what people don't realize and recognize is that like, this is going to happen until we do our work so that we can go out and do our work.
Yeah. It almost feels like everybody went into the womb, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
when it went around the last time.
Right.
They went in shock and went into womb state instead of, yeah, exactly like you said, they
Hmm.
didn't do the work.
Right. And they didn't do it. And now they're back outside again, mad because they're going to have to go back inside. Well, just go sit with yourself. You don't know you. You don't know anything about yourself. You don't know how you operate. You don't know what you hate. You don't know what you like, because you always have somebody with you. You always have something to do. You keep yourself so busy with bars, clubs, brunches, work, your family. You never sit alone. You never talk to God. You never pray. You never check yourself for your own triggers, because a lot of time we're projecting on people so heavily. We
Yeah.
don't realize how toxic we are, because you're like a container, like this water bottle. If it is filled to the top with toxicity, your projections, what you put out there, the movie that you play in your own life and to others, is going to be painful and toxic. So the time that we're in is for you to empty the container and have it refill with love so that you can project better. But people not doing it. They just want to go outside and go shopping.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And that sounds very interesting. And it's like using astrology to do a reading, sort of, but you're shining a light through all of the areas.
Yeah. And that's what it is. Astrology is a science, which I
Yeah.
think it's a science. To me, it's kind of like a math problem. Like if I see Jupiter in the third house and the third house is in Gemini, well, then you're really gifted in communication, and it's going to be booming because the third house is already ruled by Gemini, because it's the house of communication, and Jupiter is about gifts and expanding. So if your Jupiter is in the third house of communication, then you need to be speaking. You
Gotcha.
need to be either speaking or writing, showing people here. You know what I mean? Like, it's really interesting. And the reason why I even started is because, like I said, I want to stop hating myself. So I was like, well, let me see what my chart says about who I am or how I am, so that I can accept this. And when I saw all of the planets and the aspects I have in Gemini, I was like, oh, I can't be afraid to speak, because I'm supposed to be speaking. I'm supposed to be sharing. I'm supposed to be shining a light on all of these things that need to be discussed. So, a lot of people will say that astrology is wrong and that we shouldn't know those things about ourselves. But I'm like, why would God not want us to have our map? If we came here to do work, don't you want the map that tells you at least which direction to go in? You
And
know,
you're using your mind.
right.
And it is a science. I mean, I respect it a lot. I just don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, and a lot of people will, when they think of astrology, they think of horoscopes, which is like calculating for each sign, based on the time or the house that it's in at that time. Um, but it's like there's more to it. All the planets have a purpose in the chart, and then each house and sign have deacons. So like the first deacon is 0 to 10 degrees, and then it's 10 to 20 and 20 to 29 or 30. But they all have a different energy. So while your sun might be at 2 degrees of Leo, and then vintage might have a Leo sun, but their sun might be at 27 degrees of Leo. So you're not going to be exactly alike based on the positioning. Like it's a lot deeper than just horoscopes. And I usually read intuitively because I like to wait for the message or what I feel about it or what I'm seeing. Like when I look at the planet in the house, I'm like, oh, this is like this. And so that's why I do it intuitively. Like I could check everyone's degrees, but it takes a lot longer. So doing it like that costs a different amount.
Yeah, I can imagine. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds complicated, but it's very intriguing.
Yeah, it's cool. I really like it. And when I started to like it was when I started to feel guilty about it too, because I felt like, is this wrong? Or is there something wrong with me because I seem to be good at this? And I remember talking to my mom about it. And when she told me that my dad, she used to draw it and he would read it to the clients, their friends or whatever. And I cried because it made me feel like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But I did cry because I was like, here, all this time, I really thought that, it was wrong for me to do what I felt naturally inclined to do. And why didn't anybody ever tell me?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, my dad was my biggest supporter. My mom kind of gave me a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely think he would have supported me. I do. And that's why when I found those notes in the Bible, I was like, oh, thank you. Because this is an interesting time, especially in regards to the spiritual warfare. Like, I never wanted to accept that
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, it sounds so kooky. It sounds so kooky, but I couldn't get away from it. And so I just accepted it. And I was like, we're here. Boom.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's no more kooky than boots on the ground.
Right.
I hate to say, but yeah. Are you open? I don't know if anybody has any, but are you open to a few questions?
Sure. If y'all have questions.
Okay, I'm going to drop the link and see if anybody has any questions. They can either just post them in the chat or come up. But she is willing to answer a few questions before I let the lovely Sheba go.
Thank you.
Does anybody have a few questions for her? I don't want to keep her all night. Anyone? Or are you just happy and overwhelmed that she's here? Hello? We have Dr. Payne Nestor, Monica Hall, Marty, Shoeless One, Vintage. I don't know if Busy Blue's still here, Blavy and Jenny, but we always have a lot of people that aren't in the chat that are watching.
Okay.
That's how it goes too. They just don't like to be seen up on the chat. So when the show is over, there'll be higher numbers of people who are just watching. Do you know Margie's coming up? Hello, Margie.
Hi.
How are you?
Do you know Margie's coming up?
There you go. I have two browser going.
Okay.
So I'm very new to this.
Okay.
And I've been educated today now a lot. I think that's my whole education, or my whole body of knowledge about the spirituality, the way you're looking at. Although I have been exposed to spirituality a lot, but my question is, I think I have a tendency to self-sabotage a lot, and as soon as I feel this connection, I feel like they're resisting me, and then I go away, I disappear. Not that lately I have been disappeared, but that's another story. But it wasn't because of the self-sabotage thing. It's life happening. But how do you deal with that?
So the first thing I would ask you then is, do you notice a trend in the times that you do this? Like, is there a specific action that you are getting ready to take in which you say no and you recoil?
Yeah, pretty much is when I'm at my most vulnerable, I think.
Okay.
When I'm ready to really open up, I just pull back.
Okay.
And I realize it afterward when I reflect,
So you don't go through with it usually?
Yeah, no, I do. I do go to, and I've been called on it by my friends. I have friends for like 30 years now, and they call on me that, like, you disappeared again. We worry about it,
yeah.
like that.
Well, I think it's okay, definitely, to go to hermit mode, because that's essentially what's happening. When you're sensitive, you kind of need that time, because every time we shift, you need to become more solid. And you can't always do that when you are with others. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But what I might suggest is communicating that truth.
Oh, I do that, and I've been labeled as too sensitive. Mars is just too sensitive. So, pass me, try to calm me down, and being so, what's the word? Undermined, if you will, because I'm too sensitive, because I'm communicating whatever it is that I want to communicate.
So, are you sure these people are your actual friends?
Yeah. Well, not friends, but these are not family members. But
Oh, your family is always going to tell you you're too sensitive, first of all, because they want to continue to say whatever they want to say and do whatever they want to do, but never feel bad about withdrawing from family either. Sometimes you have to walk away from whole entire groups of
oh my
people.
God, it's just they don't. I don't think they realize how broken hearted I get. It literally, I can feel my heart race.
Well, you don't owe them an explanation to save yourself in situations where you need to preserve yourself.
Mm.
And it's okay. I think a lot of time we don't walk away because we're afraid to be alone. But what happens when you do that is you create space for what is supposed to actually be with you.
Mm.
So when you hold space for what's not for you, like family members or friends who are filling space, old spaces that they no longer need to fill, you stop what it is that's actually supposed to be in that area from living there.
Mm.
So when you cut it off, when you create the space, just like I was talking about the container, when you empty it out, it's able to fill with what's right. So just encourage yourself. Like my number one thing is like in times like this where you have to make a break like that, you kind of have to become your own best friend so that you always have somebody with you, because it's the codependency or the validation that's keeping you connected
It's
to people.
validation. Mm.
Yeah.
Right. Right. You need, well, what if, so do it for yourself. Anything that you feel like you need somebody else to do for you, do it for you. If that means going to look in the mirror and talk to yourself and encourage yourself, go do that. That's what I do. That's one of my number one things.
Yeah.
For women who are trying to draw in a partner, take yourself out on a date yourself, become your own partner. Anything that somebody else can do for you, you can also do for yourself, and you should.
I mean, do you feel like sometimes that validation is also causing you pain?
Yes.
So
Yes.
then it's not really helpful.
Yeah.
You get what I'm
Because
saying?
the validation comes with a price. I
Yeah.
Mhm.
have to keep doing what they want me to do, or what
Right.
they ask me to do,
So it's
and
not worth it.
it's really not true to me.
It's taking a chunk of you when you do it.
Right.
Right.
So you need to, like she said, date yourself, go do something for yourself, go to a bar and flirt with somebody, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sounds simple, but really that's a fix for a lot of our issues, especially as they relate to other people. Like really becoming dominant in yourself. And just like Dana was saying about connecting to yourself, that's really the essence of it. Really getting in tune with the truth of you so that you rely on you and you don't rely on others. Yeah, we need each other, but codependency is painful. It's painful to all parties. It hurts to be the person that's responsible for giving that much love out. And then it hurts because you can't get what you need from them because nobody can fill you but you.
And if you do that, yeah, you're right.
Call me. We'll have a party on the
Yes.
Facebook. We'll play the tunes and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to be all right though. One step at a time, baby steps. Even just start by saying no.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Huge. Huge.
Yeah. Making a choice that serves you versus doing something they want you to do. That's
I
huge.
never know when they ask me a favor, or they even allude to it. I cannot not say no. I always say yes,
No.
even if it's at the cost.
You're
Yeah.
going to be all right if you lose them. And if you say no and they leave, then were they really there? You know?
I think it's also an immigrant's life story, you come with a whole from a, where I came from. I had a huge family and friends, and distance family, friends of friends and all that. And when you immigrate, all of a sudden your world becomes so small,
Mm-hmm.
and that become your friends and your family. The lines get blurry. What was selected versus what you were given.
Yeah.
To me, after 30 some odd years that I've been here, I have that dependency to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you're grown now. And
Yeah,
you never know who you'll meet,
you imagine, right?
Well, but that's like I said, like even though we're adults, we're just like little kids
Yeah.
Yeah.
still in there, and there's a child inside of you that's why you say yes every time, because it's the little girl who's like, if I say no, who am I going to play with? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and no, you don't want to play, but you don't want to be abandoned. So that's why you agree to it all versus being like, well, I don't need that. That's going to make me feel good. So, it's baby steps. Just do a little bit at a time
yeah.
and just be cognizant of the little girl that's inside of you making the choices for adult you.
True.
We've had that talk too.
Yes,
I've
yes.
told him, our bodies might be like this, but we're still little kids on the inside.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Thank you. I let the other people come.
Thank you, Marty.
Be right. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Monica, where can we go to learn more about this and ourselves? Tell them where they can find you.
Okay, so probably the easiest place for you to find me, and then you'll be able to find everything else, is via Instagram at CreativeAF Consulting. And then in the bio link, you can find little courses that I created. I have a free one, and then I have one that it's not very expensive. It's on raising your vibration and finding joy now. And then you can book sessions. You can join my small groups. I'm just kind of loving all over the place right now. But if you don't have Instagram, you can just go to www.mscreativeaf.com. I'm rebranding though, guys. It's about to get really funky.
I'm putting it in the chat. MSCreative.com.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Shelly says, do you know what my purpose is? Shelly, I'll have to look at your chart to determine what your spiritual purpose is specifically. So if you want to book a session, you can definitely do that.
Has anybody else got any more questions for Miss Sheba?
Yay, thank you for adding.
And she, from what I hear, I'm going to have it done, does some incredible charts.
Oh, thank you.
That's what Jenny says. She said they are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to my friend Jenny. Well, she's actually kind of a client and a friend, but she's Jenny. I love her. But also it's like, I don't know. I just started doing it like one day, and I don't know, it's kind of good. And everybody says that like it's really good because it's not just, okay, here's your astrology information, but also the intuitive messaging is there too. And people really like that. So
she goes, she is great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I so greatly appreciate you. I don't know, I can't even explain it. From the first time we started communicating, I just felt this connect.
I appreciate that.
So I had to have you on, and I hopefully will have you on again in the future.
Yeah, I can definitely come back and talk to you guys some more about any topic. Now that we've introduced me, and we can talk about whatever we want.
And she has some great spiritual jewelry, by the way.
Oh, yes. I'm just making this necklace for now, but I am branching out and I think I'm going to make a perfume. One of my life aspects is about being the lover, like a Venus ruled person. So that means beauty too. So I'm trying to get into some beauty products and just like, adornments like jewelry and some perfume.
So that is very cool. I ask that you go follow her on Instagram And also, if you want to get some intuitive astrology readings with her, I highly recommend. I am so grateful that you came on tonight. I didn't mean to break down on you.
Oh, it's okay. I feel like people always cry with me. Maybe it's just me.
I'm just not. I'm generally not like that. So, but I'm very honored that you came on. Learned so much, and this has been just wonderful.
Thank you for having me. I was a little bit nervous, but I don't know if it showed.
No, it didn't. You did great.
Thank you.
I would like everybody to drop the butterflies in here.
Yes, I saw that. And I appreciate all the butterflies and just everybody who was here and you know, just came. Like I love that. I think that's beautiful and I'm honored to have been able to be with you guys and speak.
It's really funny. I started this channel as I thought, Dear Dana, it's going to be like an updated Dear Abby. I'll answer people's problems intuitively. They'll write it. Never happened. It never happened.
Well, I'm an intuitive brand strategist. If you want to skew it, you let me know and I'll help you get the questions in here.
I put it as advice, social commentary, psychology, spiritual, and that's how it went.
So let me just tell you then, collect the questions elsewhere. So like maybe, do you have Facebook?
Yeah, I'm just not on it much. I don't want some of my family members to know I have a YouTube.
Okay, so we're going to have to be strategic about it. But if you want to do that, let me know and I can absolutely help you. Because if that's what you really want to do, to be giving that advice like that. Because I used to, on Between Us Girls podcast, we used to collect information and we would read the questions too. So this is something that I've done before, so I can definitely help you.
I just
Monica, you're welcome.
Sneaky way to be intuitive.
Yeah. But you know what? That's the reason why it's probably not taking place too, is because you don't need to sneak right now. Because you need to be exposed as yourself and give the truth.
Yeah. Every time I try to hide,
but that's what happens. We want to hide, but like in order to really draw in the people we need to help, we have to be open.
Yeah.
That is not easy to be us, Dana. So I feel you.
I know. I was trying to respect other people and hide, but it's just not going to happen that way.
Right.
But anyway, I love and adore you. You are great. The things you have said are just wonderful. And they did kind of confirm things I've told them to, which was great. So everybody has enjoyed you. I appreciate you. And everybody, again, please go follow her on Instagram. Have her do your astrology, intuitive astrology. It will be just behooving to your life.
Thank you, Dana, so much. And thank you, everybody, for the butterflies. And if anybody out there is like myself or Dana, a creative, trying to do something out in the world, not sure how to do it, also let me know and I can support you. Okay.
Everybody, I love you. Have a great night. Continue your grounding. I will see you on Wednesday night. And listen, drop me comments below because I want to go ahead and set up. I want to ask your advice about that. I want to go ahead and set up the guided meditation for the whole community. I've wanted to do it on Zoom because I did not know how I felt about doing it on YouTube because I was concerned about if people are driving and stuff like that, if it would be safe or not. That's why I was going to do it on Zoom.
Do y'all have a small group elsewhere?
No.
Okay. Sometimes it's easy to stream into groups like that, but I think you can make a private YouTube stream through StreamYard, and then you can give them the link to the private video.
I'll check into that because I want to go ahead and give it to him. It was my gift. And I don't want to keep delaying. I just don't want to.
Is it something you want to do live?
I was just thinking, if I do it live, is it a liability if people happen to be driving or something?
Oh, well, if you're going to, so something maybe you want to record and give to them then?
Yeah, I need to figure this out.
Okay, well, we can talk about it.
But anyway, drop in the links. What would be a good time for everybody so I can go ahead and get this going? Because I know I promised you.
Oh, Anna has a question about Lionsgate. how to prepare for it. And go outside. That is my information. But also do be careful because, like, okay, so everybody's talking about how it's great for manifestation. That's true, but also we can have a lot of heavy negative thoughts too at the time, and maybe even some nightmares. So
Is there
my
a particular stone you would recommend?
for protection or for like grounding, probably a dark stone like an obsidian or a tourmaline for protection. But for grounding, I always look at red stones. So like red jasper or even a sandstone, something that makes you feel connected to the earth. That's what I would say.
Okay. So I don't know. I'm always addicted to my selenite.
Mm. I feel like that's a very like upper chakra crystal. You think so?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
absolutely.
But anyway, I'm gonna do protection for this lion gate.
Well, we would just want to be, I mean, if the portal's open and like we're open and we're also open, we're also susceptible to some negativity. Yeah, we can feel, you know, the love, but also, there's always two sides. So,
No, no, baby. I've had enough of that now. I'm doming up.
yeah,
But I greatly appreciate you. You are incredible.
thank you.
Everybody have a wonderful night. I love you so much. And just remember, your vibe attracts your tribe. And turn your volume up. Resonate high. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, Sheba.
Thank you.
And we are out. Thank you for coming to Dear Dana, by the way. Please like and subscribe. I always forget that. It's important. I just don't think about it. Okay, where is my thing? I can't find it. I'm too excited. There it is.